right, so we have this pond here that has a ton of fish down in it. We've cleaned this pond out before, and it has so many fish, and they love their fish so much that it was determined that they needed better filtration. So there is a biofalls back there, but it is not keeping up to the task because you can see how dirty this pond is. But it was cleaned out just a couple of months ago, and it's already building up a thick layer of sludge from fish waste on the rocks. And so we are coming in, we're emptying it out. We are going to install a new and better designed waterfall with a new biofalls back here. We're going to scoot that back a little bit. We're going to replace the stone from the other side of that waterfall all the way around from there in this cove, and it's going to come into right here with boulders. And then right here we're going to have another waterfall that's going to be fed by a wetland back here. So we're going to be installing a wetland filter right back here. And so we're going to be installing a wetland filter back there that will help to provide the filtration necessary to a pond with this many fish in it. Additionally, on the other side of our spraying leaking pump connection over there, additionally, you can see by these pump vaults that we're going to install an intake bay. So we've already spray painted it out. We're going to have 6 large aqua blocks. Actually, we're going to have 8 large aqua blocks. It called for 6, but the layout is going to be easier if we do 8. So we've got 4 laid out here, and then they'll be stacked double thickness. We'll have boulders in front of that here to screen the water down and make that flow rate increase. And here is why we need an intake bay. I'll show you the nursery. So we have baby koi. Our client is quite a fan of her fish, such that she put out mats for the fish to lay their eggs in this spring, and then put the mats here in this tub. They've hatched, and now she's raising her own baby koi. So the intake bay gives a safe place for these fish to swim in and out of without getting sucked into the pump. So that's the plan. That's what we're doing here. That's one of the reasons for an intake bay. The other reason for an intake bay is that it can process and hold a much higher quantity of organic matter than a skimmer can. You can also accommodate greater flow rates than you can with a skimmer. So we've got an intake bay going in over here. We have a wetland going in over there. And just for the visual beauty of it, we're going to be improving that waterfall back there, putting in a new biofalls with it. And it's going to be awesome. So right now we're in the catching fish and cleanup and preparation phase at the moment. We also have a gas line out here that 811 did not mark for us. And so Alberto has already found it. That was awesome. So it looks like that's water there, and gas should be under it. So we're going to have to look and find that. But want to make sure we avoid it as we're installing our wetland in right there. So job well done, Alberto. All right, so we are plugging away at it. You can see our intake bay is going in right there. We're going to go double deep with the large aqua blocks just because we don't have the space to go wide. So you have to have a certain number of aqua blocks in there in order to manage the flow. So we're going too deep. I'm going to have a total of 6 aqua blocks. I think it's actually 8. We just for the geometry of it, we needed 6 for the math, but for the geometry, it's going to work out better to have 8. So anyway, that's going to be going in there. So we'll have a nice sheet of water going over into the intake bay there. Our pond is being dismantled. I got started on that over here. It looks like they hit some big rocks. And so our biofalls is going to sit back there. We're going to remove all of this, drop that biofalls into about right there. Then we'll bring in some good sized boulders to face that off. We're going to bring the tractor in right there. And she said she does not want those Spirea hanging out any longer. And then we come over here to the magic zone and what we're gonna do here. So this is the layout for our wetland right here. And so we're gonna dig this down 3 feet and then bring this up by 1 foot to give us a full 4 feet of depth. And our perimeter stones are going to sit on a shelf around here. Because we're coming up, we have to have a good firm surface to anchor our liner against. And so we'll have boulders coming in around here. The liner will actually come up, go underneath that, and then back here. So there'll actually be water all the way out to this point right here, and then soil will come up with a boulder here, liner here, and then soil up to it to hold that liner in place. Here on the back side, we're gonna face the back of this curve right here with boulders. It's gonna look like this. Bring those boulders in back there, and then we'll just feather this soil up from here on either side. It's gonna come up against the chimney over here and come up to that crepe myrtle there. We won't bury that crepe myrtle too much, but we'll just feather this out, come in this way, come up, we'll be 12 inches high over here. And we have to do that. The reason we have to do this is because there's no grade change. In fact, this is actually a little bit lower here than the edge of the pond. It drains this way. So we've got to get this up in order for us to be able to create a waterfall here. And so they want the sound, they love the sound. They have got so many fish, so lots of variation, lots of water movement, and lots of sound out here. Got beautiful open yard out here in Eads, and very much out in the country. And so they really appreciate that natural aspect of it. She loves her fish, and so we're making a real oasis upgrade for this pond for her and for her fish. So that's what's going on. So hopefully today they're gonna get that intake bay finished. They're not far off of that. Continue with the demolition right there, and then get the sod pulled out here and get this joker dug down by 3 feet. All right, so over the weekend we got 7 inches of rain at this house. So Friday and Saturday we got 4.5 inches, which was a record for Memphis. And so the client had pumped a bunch of the water out, but we still got more. And unfortunately, we're gonna have to lift the liner, lift the underlayment, and get the mud that invariably washed in, mucked out, and both in the wetland and in the intake bay. So we've got a half a day's of work just cleaning up behind the rain, unfortunately, before we can keep forging ahead. But this is progress so far. All right, y'all, this water feature is absolutely spectacular. Loving the way this turned out. The construction team did a phenomenal job. You can see our intake bay right here is doing its job. You can see we've got crepe myrtle flowers and some other little bit of trash that's accumulated since we finished on Saturday has accumulated in there. The water has really cleared up. Got just a tremendous number of gorgeous koi in here, and really these guys right here are what drove this project. And I'll tell you why. Because when it started off, we had an old aquascape skimmer that really was not up to the task in maintaining clear water for this many fish. And so they were constantly having green water issues, So we talked to them about upgrading that, but that the real trick, or the real key to maintaining clear water, would be with a properly designed wetland. And so this is our wetland right here. This is, I believe it's a 6x8 wetland filter. This is our clean out cap right here. But this is the magic right here of keeping this pond crystal clear year round with very little to no maintenance. So this pond, this here is about 4 feet deep. We've got large cobbles, kind of the size of your fist. at the bottom, coming up with then large gravel and then medium gravel, which is what you see right here. And so as the water comes up from the bottom through those successively smaller layers of rock and gravel, it is being scrubbed by the beneficial bacteria that live on the surface area of that gravel, and it's removing the nitrogen and phosphorus primarily from the water, which is left in the water by our beautiful fish down here. So we're not actually killing algae so much as we are seeking to starve algae. And normally on a pond this size, a 6,000 biofalls like that over there is completely acceptable and appropriate, but this client loves their fish. They even breed their fish, and we have babies over here that are waiting to soon be released into the pond. And when I say babies, I mean tiny little babies. They're going to be going back in here, and that was what really necessitated our intake bay over there. So it's a safe pond for small fish, and they have bred most of these fish themselves, and right here in this pond, and they know their owner's voice, they know their steps, and they come and go wild when they walk up. So these fish are thrilled to be in clean, healthy water. This is a testament to the skill of our construction teams. You see how many fish there are in there, and there really are more than what it feels like. It's a tremendous number. We did not lose a single fish, and we are building sometimes in triple-digit heat on this project. So these fish stayed in collapsible storage tanks right over here underneath the porte-cochere. And we kept aerators in there and nets over the top. And their human mother was concerned about their health being out in the heat and out of their pond for that long. We assured them, though, they're going to be fine, and we did not lose a single fish. To my knowledge, we've never lost a fish during a reconstruction project due to while getting proper care. We have had some jumpers before, and some other situations. I think they were all jumpers, though. We've had some jumpers that were lost, got out of the net, but as far as fish maintenance during a project, we have never lost a fish. And these are beautiful fish. Gorgeous pond. Loving the way this thing turned out. I was talking to the clients, and they were just talking about how they are, he grew up in the Ozarks. He said, man, this looks like what I used to play on in the Ozark Mountains. Loving the way this thing's turned out. And as the plants mature and grow, it's going to get more beautiful, more natural looking, and even healthier the more the plants take over. Loving it way. Hope y'all like it, and we would love to come out and talk with you about your project. Maybe you've got green water issues, not thrilled with the way the waterfalls look, or you want to, maybe you've got a leak. We'd love to help you, see what we can do to get you into a beautiful water feature just like this one.